So, Hallmark holiday this week. It's a holiday to sell greeting cards and for people to buy jewelry for their significant others. I've got my significant other here with me, and we're going to go for a quick ride. But before we do that, I'm just going to go over a couple things that I do with my significant other, aka my wife, that one girl. And before we go out for a ride, we do this every time, and we make sure that we're on the same page. And here's a little hint for you. A lot of the things that we do when we ride two up on the motorcycle are the same things that you want to do to have a successful, and what we found to be a successful relationship. We've been together for over 20 years, and we've been married. This is our 17th year of marriage. So I like to think that we have some success in that degree. So before she hops on the bike, we're going to make sure that I'm stopped, that I've got my brake on, and that I'm going to put the rear pegs down, or the passenger pegs down. I'm going to make sure they got the brake on and that I'm braced and ready for her to get on so that we don't tip over. So why don't you hop on, babe? I always like to scoot up a little bit too so that she has a little bit more room, because the two-up seats typically don't have a lot to offer back there as far. If you've got a pillion in the back there, that's typically a better scenario for your passenger. But because we don't ride up two up a lot, the two-up seat that we have is adequate enough. Okay, so we're all ready to go. The second thing you want to do when you're riding with a passenger on back is to make sure that you have a way to communicate. Now, if that's going to be through a Bluetooth, which I don't have, you still want to be able to communicate. So the way that we do it is that she's going to hold on, and she's going to hold on tight. But if she needs to stop, she's going to squeeze me twice really hard to let me know that it's time to stop, or hey, something's not going on back here that I'm enjoying, and we're going to pull over and we're going to find out what's going on. So whether it be hand signals, whether it be through physical signals, that you've got to have a way to know what's going on with your partner back there. So we're just going to go out for a quick ride to celebrate the Hallmark holiday, if you will. And the other thing is when you have that open line of communication, both of you need to know what's going on when you're riding two up. You never want to assume that the other person that's riding with you knows what they're doing. If you assume that, you're already in for some trouble. If you're just assuming that the person knows what they're doing behind you, that's just going to be a case where, oh, you know, you thought that they'd ridden before, or you thought they knew how to ride a motorcycle. So whether they've told you that they've ridden a motorcycle or ridden with somebody on a motorcycle before, you just want to go over things. They need to know that they need to lean with you when you're going into turns. That they need to brace themselves, meaning they need to hold on tight when you're about ready to take off from a stop. So just those little things that maybe somebody who they haven't ridden in a while with somebody, that they should know before you start riding with a passenger, is that you're both on the same page, and that you definitely know what they're doing. Excuse me, they definitely know what they're doing on the back of the motorcycle. The other thing, and this is something that I haven't completely mastered, and maybe it has something to do with my passenger not knowing, but when I take off and when I stop, I always try to do everything really delicately so that we don't bump helmets. I'm guessing that if you're riding with a pillion or somebody who's on like a touring bike who's sitting up higher than you, you're not going to have that problem as much because their helmet's going to be up above yours. But for me, we're always doinking our helmets together when we take off or when we stop. So leave it in the comments there if you ride a touring bike and you don't have that problem where you're hitting helmets together when you take off or when you stop. Because I'd really like to know, is that something that I'm doing wrong, or is that something that that happens to everybody and it's kind of unavoidable? Now I'm guessing if you're riding two up and you both have like you know, those half helmets, it's gonna happen less. But when you've got some big domes, some big full face helmets on, you're gonna get that helmet bonking business going on. So again, your rider behind you needs to know to lean into the turns. I'm telling you, I've ridden with my daughters and before, and even though they're a much smaller person, when they forget and they don't lean into that turn, it makes it a lot harder. And the big issue with that is if they're leaning away from the turn while you're leaning into it, and then they remember, and then all of a sudden they're leaning into it, you could be looking at a real problem here. Now, I don't know if you can hear, but it is windy AF today, and it's actually, I've ridden when it's been this windy before, and it's actually nicer with a passenger because there's a little bit more weight here on the bike, so I don't feel as flimsy as I have when I've ridden by myself in wind like this. So, if you have a significant other on this Valentine's Day, my wife and I have always, for the 20 plus years that we've been together, we've always been under the understanding, and maybe it's because she used to work at Hallmark when she was in high school, that she knows what's up, that Valentine's Day is just, it's just some made-up holiday. But some people take it really seriously, and that's fine. I think everybody should have a special day where they care for each other, and they show, you know, their affection and their love for each other. But my wife and I, we've been together for a long time. She's my best friend, and we do everything together. So every day is like Valentine's Day for us. If I was to give you some more tips, coming from a person who's been in a long steady relationship with somebody, my biggest thing is that you find somebody who you can be with and just not do anything with, who you can just hang out with. You guys could just be watching TV or doing whatever, and that you still enjoy being around with that person and being with them. If you can share that with somebody, then stick with that person. And my last little tidbit here on Valentine's Day is enjoy the ride. So we're gonna finish this ride off here, and I'm just gonna say, enjoy the ride. That's what I'm gonna do here with the love of my life, my best friend, my wife. I'm gonna enjoy this little ride. Hey guys, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, and if you're so inclined, hit the subscribe button right over here. And if you want to click over to one of my other videos, click on one of the links in this direction. Guys, if you're riding, be safe, and if you're not riding, get riding. This is that one guy, and I'm out.